Hello and welcome back. Lanita here, the Scrappy Grandma. Welcome to my Torah Portion playlist, where each week I read the Torah portion for the week. This week we are starting week 40. 54, we're getting towards the end now. And this one's called Balak. And it is Numbers 22, 2 through 25, 9. The Haftarah is Micah 5, 6 through 6, 8. And the Brit Hadashah is Matthew 21, 1 through 11. Now, the Haftarah is from the books of wisdom and the prophets, and the Brit Hadashah is from the Gospels and the letters. So, Father Yah, thank you so much for the opportunity to be able to feast on your word and to share it with others. Father, I pray that this time brings you glory and honor, and that you send this out to whoever it is that you'd like to receive it, to have hear it, and that you open their eyes and their ears, and that you will give them a hunger and a thirst, a passion and a love for your word, so that they'll want to dig in and to learn more about how to walk in covenant with you the way that you have laid out in your Torah, your instructions. Father, I pray blessings on them. And Father, I only want your words, not mine, to come out. This is all about you. And let me diminish and you increase. In Yeshua's name, amen. Okay. So I'm going to start with a commentary. Kind of sets the stage so we understand, helps us to have a more of a Hebrew mindset of who it was written for, by, and to, and what's going on. And this one's Balak, and this one's interesting. It's so funny because every one of these, I think I've been reading through the Torah portions now for about 3 or 4 years, 4 years maybe, and each one's my favorite, and because it's always so perfect for the time. And yeah, I love this. And the beautiful thing about the Torah portions is that it is condensed into bite-sized chunks to help us to really be able to focus each week on different aspects of how we can be in covenant with him and serve him and walk in fellowship with him. So his way, his designed way, not what we've been taught from the world and the world's churches. So Balak, it says last week's parsha, Chukat, recounted how the king of Bashan and the kings of Ammon tried to prevent Israel, the people of Israel, from passing through their borders to get to the promised land. Both kings waged war against Israel, and both kings lost. This week we find Israel encamped along the borders of Moab. When Balak, the king of Moab, considered what Israel had done to the Amorites, he enlisted the help of the neighboring Midianites and sent emissaries to hire an enigmatic seer, Balaam. So we get into the story of Balaam, to curse Israel so that they would be defeated in the forthcoming battle. Balaam's got an interesting history, and he pops in throughout. So the parsha begins, and Balak, the son of Zippor, saw all that Israel had done to the Amorites, Numbers 22:2. Who is Balak? Recall that Abraham's nephew Lot was rescued from the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, along with his 2 daughters. After fleeing the area, they took shelter in the cave where the 2 daughters got their father drunk, had sexual relations with him, and became pregnant. The 2 sons bore to his incestuous from this incestuous union would become the father of the nations of Moab and Ammon respectively. When the Moabites heard about the defeat of the Amorite kings Sihon and Og, they decided to join forces with the Midianites in order to present a united front. The Moabites then installed a new king, Zur of Midian, who was renamed Balak. Perhaps the Moabite chose a Midian king because Moses himself lived there for many years with Jethro, his father-in-law. Reuben, Raul, I forget, but yeah, he's got a few different names, but Jethro. King Balak was a magician trained in Kesaf, the occult of magic. Instead of preparing for a conventional war, however, he hired the services of a renowned musician named Balaam, son of Beor. His plan was to fight Israel by means of spiritual powers. Perhaps he thought that if he and Balaam combined their powers, they could defeat Israel. Who is Balaam? Balaam, son of Beor, is from Aram, ancient Mesopotamia, Syria. Similar in notoriety to Haman in the book of Esther, Balaam is considered one of Israel's greatest foes. His name may mean not of the people, a madman or corrupter of the people. And he actually was a descendant of the devious Laban. Laban was Jacob's father-in-law, from whom Jacob fled in Genesis 31. Balaam is said to be the son of Beor. Beor is not identified in the phonetic similarity to Peor. Oh, I'm sorry. Beor is not identified, and the phonetic similarity to Peor is noticeable. If Beor and Peor are the same, then Balaam was actually a prophet of Baal Peor, a local Semitic god associated with Mount Peor. The text implies that Balaam had some real knowledge of the God of Israel, but why did Yah give him a gift of prophecy? According to some of the sages, take with a grain of salt, Yah allowed him to become a prophet so that the nations could not make the claim, if Yah had given us a prophet as great as Moses, then we would also serve Yah. Balaam is also an object lesson to all those who attempt to manipulate Yah for the purposes of evil. He was later killed by Joshua when he tried once again to curse the people of Israel. King Balak sought him out because he mistakenly thought that this prophet could somehow manipulate Yah, the Elohim of Israel, to turn against his people. According to the Talmud, Berachot 7a, Balaam knew the moment each day that Yah was angry at the world. If he could curse someone at just that moment, Yah would be constrained to say amen to the curse. Yeah, see that? It goes along with there where two or three witnesses let a thing be established, because when, we have choices every day to come into alignment and to align ourselves with the accuser of the brethren, who is before the throne day and night accusing the brethren. And like when we judge others or speak unkindly about them, we are actually coming into agreement with the accuser of the brethren, Hasatan, Satan, the accuser. And instead, we are supposed to come into agreement with the Most High and bless and, be in agreement with Him, where two or three witnesses let a thing be established. And so there's the two witnesses or the two witnesses. So it really makes you think about how you think and what you say, because it really does matter. So Balak sends messengers to Balaam. Balak dispatched a group of noblemen from both Moab and Midian to invite Balaam to curse the Israelites. Initially, he refused to go with them since he did not have the permission of Yah. However, after repeated delegations and a warning from Yah, he saddled his donkey and made his way to curse Yah's chosen people. It makes no sense, but it's such an interesting story. The willingness of Balaam to curse Yah's people made Yah angry, and on the way to perform his maledictions, delicious irony ensues. Balaam is berated by his donkey, who saw the angel of Yah sent to block their way. The so-called great man could not control his own donkey with his words. How would he then be effectual in cursing Israel? The Talmud, take from a grain of salt, Sanhedrin 105a, states that Balaam was actually made lame when his foot was crushed against the wall as his donkey lurched the second time to avoid the angel. Nevertheless, Yah then let him proceed on his mission, but only on the condition that he would speak exactly what he commanded him to speak. Curses turned to blessings. Balak received Balaam at Moab's border and repeated his promises of honor and glory, but Balaam only said, the word that Yah places in my mouth, that I will speak. 3 times from 3 different vantage points, Balaam attempted to pronounce his curse, but each time blessings upon Israel were recited instead. The 3rd attempt was at the summit of Mount Peor itself, the place noted for Baal worship. The Holy Spirit came upon Balaam, and he recited further blessings upon Israel and ironically curses upon her enemy. Part of Balaam's blessing is now part of the daily morning service, the Matovu. Okay. Finally, the exasperated king wanted to rid himself of Balaam, but Balaam then prophesied concerning the end of days. According to Maimonides, that same famous person from last week, Balaam's prophecy concerned 2 anointed ones of Israel, namely King David and the Mashiach. In the story of Balaam, it is spoken of that it is prophesied on 2 anointed ones. The first Mashiach, which is David, who saved Israel from its enemies, and the last Mashiach, who shall be of his descendants, who will save Israel in the end. There he says, I see him, but not now. This is David. I behold him, but he is not near. This is the King Mashiach, Messiah, Yeshua, Jesus. There shall shoot forth a star out of Jacob. This is David. And the scepter shall rise out of Israel. This is King Mashiach, Jesus. And shall smite the corners of Moab. This is David. And it is written in 2 Samuel 8:2. And he smote Moab, and he measured them with a line, and the rule over all the children of Seth. This is King Mashiach. It is written in Zechariah 9:10. And his dominion shall be from sea to sea. Mishnah Torah. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to bring up and share. Hold on here. Share my screen. That one there. And put me over here and share. And hopefully, let's take a look at that and see. There we go. Okay. Okay. So, and the children of Israel set out and camped in the desert plains of Moab beyond the Jordan of Jericho. And Balak, son of Peor, saw all that Israel had done to the Amorites. And Moab was exceedingly afraid of the people because they were many. And Moab was in dread because of the children of Israel. And Moab said to the elders of Midian, now this company is licking up all that is around us, as an ox licks up the grass of the field. Now Balak, son of Tispor, was sovereign of the Moabites at the time. And he sent messengers to Balaam, son of Beor, at Pethor, which is near the river in the land of the sons of his people, to call him, saying, see, a people has come from Mitzrayim. See, they have covered the surface of the land and are setting next to me. And now please come at once and curse this people for me, for they are too strong for me. It might be that I strike them and drive them out of the land, for I know that him whom you bless is blessed, and him you curse is cursed. And the elders of Moab and the elders of Midian left with the fees for divination, taking money to give to him, in their hand. And they came to Balaam and spoke these words of Balak to him. And he said to them, spend the night here, and I shall bring back word to you. As Yah speaks to me, so the heads of Moab stayed with Balaam. And Elohim came to Balaam and said, who are these men with you? And Balaam said to Elohim, Balak, son of Zippor, sovereign of Moab, has sent to me, saying, see, a people has come out of Mitzrayim and cover the surface of the land. Come now and curse them for me. It might be that I am able to fight against them and drive them out. And Elohim said to Balaam, do not go with them, for you do not curse the people, for they are blessed. And Balaam rose in the morning, and he said to the heads of Balak, go back to your land, for Yah has refused to allow me to go with you. And the heads of Moab arose and went to Balak and said, Balaam refuses to come with us. Then Balak again sent heads more numerous and more esteemed than they. And they came to Balaam and said to him, this is what Balak, son of Svor, said, do not be withheld from coming to me, please. For I esteem you very greatly, and whatever you say to me, I do. Therefore, please come and curse this people for me. And Balaam answered and said to the servants of Balak, though Balak were to give me his house filled with silver and gold, I am unable to go beyond the word of Yah, my Elohim, to do less or more. So it's interesting. Balaam, he calls him his God, Yahweh, my Elohim, to do less or more. And now, please, you also stay here tonight and let me find out what more Yah says to me. And Elohim came to Balaam at night and said to him, if the men come to call you, rise and go with them, but only the words which I speak to you, that you do. And Balaam rose in the morning and saddled his donkey and went with the heads of Moab. But the displeasure of Elohim burned because he went. And the messenger of Yah stationed himself in the way as an adversary against him, and he was riding on his donkey, and the two servants were with him. I always find this really interesting. Yah said, go ahead and go. Maybe because Yah told him no, but then he came back again. And then he told him to go ahead and go, but then he was angry with him because he did go. So it probably, like it says in there, it probably has something to do with the condition of his heart, that he was, eager and wanting to go. And the donkey saw the messenger of Yah standing in the way with his drawn sword in his hand, and the donkey turned aside out of the way and went into the field. So Balaam struck the donkey to turn her back on the way. Then the messenger of Yah stood in the narrow passage between the vineyards with a wall on this side and a wall on that side. And when the donkey saw the messenger of Yah, she pushed herself against the wall and crushed Balaam's foot against the wall. So he struck her again. And the messenger of Yah went further and stood in a narrow place where there was no way to turn aside, right or left. And when the donkey saw the messenger of Yah, she laid down under Balaam. So Balaam's displeasure burned, and he struck the donkey with his staff. Then Yah opened the mouth of the donkey, and she said to Balaam, what have I done to you that you have stricken me these 3 times? And Balaam said to the donkey, because you have mocked me, I wish there were a sword in my hand, for I would have killed you by now. I find it really interesting that he answered a talking donkey. But and the donkey said to Balaam, am I not your donkey on which you have ridden ever since I became yours to this day? Was I ever known to do so to you? And he said, no. Then Yah opened Balaam's eyes, and he saw the messenger of Yah standing in the way with his drawn sword in his hand, and he bowed his head and he fell on his face. And the messenger of Yah said to him, why have you struck your donkey these 3 times? See, I have come out to stand against you because your way is reckless before me. And the donkey saw me and turned aside from me these 3 times. If she had not turned aside from me, I certainly would have killed you by now and let her live. And Balaam said to the messenger of Yah, I have sinned, for I did not know you stood in the way against me. And now, if evil is in your eyes, let me turn back. And the messenger of Yah said to Balaam, go with the men, but only the word that I speak to you, that you speak to Balaam, then you speak. Balaam then went with the heads of Balak. And when Balak heard that Balaam was coming, he went out to meet him at the city of Moab, which is on the border of Arnon, which was in the extremity of the border. And Balak said to Balaam, did I not urgently send to you, calling for you? Why did you not come to me? And am I not able to esteem you? And Balaam said to Balak, see, I have come to you now, and I at all am able to say, I have come to you now. Am I at all able to say somewhat the word that Elohim puts in my mouth that I speak? And Balaam went with Balak, and they came to Kerath Hutzoph. And Balak slaughtered the cattle and the sheep, and he sent some to Balaam and to the heads who were with him. And it came to be in the morning that Balak took Balaam and brought him up to the high place of Baal And from there, he saw the extremity of the camp. Just wanted to get how far I'm supposed to read. 25. Okay. 22, 23. 1. And Balaam said to Balak, build 7 slaughter places for me here, and prepare 7 bulls and 7 rams for me here. And Balak did as Balaam had spoken, and Balak and Balaam offered a bull and a ram on each slaughter place. And Balaam then said to Balak, stand by your ascending offering and let me go on. It might be that Yah does come and meet me, and whatever he shows me, I shall declare to you. And he went to a bare height. And Elohim came to Balaam and said to him, he said to him, I have prepared the 7 slaughter places, and I have offered each slaughter place a bull and a ram. And Yah put the word in the mouth of Balaam and said, return to Balak, and this is what you say. And he returned to him and saw him standing by his ascending offering, he and all the heads of Moab. And he took his proverb and said, Balak, the sovereign of Moab, has brought me from Aram, from the mountains of the east. Come curse Jacob for me, Jacob, and come rage against Israel. Jacob, Israel, same person. And now do I curse whom El has not cursed? And how do I rage at whom Yah has not raged? For from the top of the rocks I see him, and from the hills I observe him. Look, a people dwelling alone, not reckoning itself among the nations. Who shall count the dust of Jacob and the number of 1/4 of Israel? Let me die the death of the upright, and let my end be like his. And Balak said to Balaam, what have you done to me? I took you to curse my enemies, and look, you have kept on blessing. And he answered and he said, should I not take heed to speak what Yah has put in my mouth? And Balak said to him, please come to me. Hold on here. Go back to sharing my screen. Sorry, I got called away. It is so busy right now. All right, here we go. Finish up. For there is no sorcery against Jacob, nor is there any divination against Israel. Now it is said to Jacob and to Israel, what has El done? Makes the microphones on. Great. Look, a people rises like a lioness. It lifts itself up like a lion. It lies down until it devours the prey and drinks the blood of the slain. And Balak said to Balaam, do not curse them at all, nor bless them at all. And Balaam answered and said to Balak, have I not spoken to you, saying all that Yah speaks? That I do. And Balak said to Balaam, please come, let me take you to another place. It might be right in the eyes of Elohim that you curse them for me there. And Balak took Balaam to the top of Peor that overlooks the wasteland. And Balaam said to Balak, build 7 slaughter places for me here, and prepare 7 bulls and 7 rams for me here. And Balak did as Balaam said, and offered a bull and a ram on each slaughter place. 24. Make sure, like I said, and it's going through 25:9. Great. And Balaam saw that it pleased Yah to bless Israel. He did not go as at other times to seek to use sorcery, but he set his face towards the wilderness. And Balaam lifted up his eyes and saw Israel encamped according to their tribes, and the spirit of Elohim came upon him. And he took up his proverb and said, the saying of Balaam, son of Beor, the saying of the man whose eyes are opened, the saying of him who hears the words of El, who sees the vision of the Almighty, who falls down with eyes opened wide. How good are your tents, O Jacob, your dwellings, O Israel, like wadis that stretch out like gardens by a river, like aloes planted by Yah, like cedar besides water. He makes water flow from his buckets, and his seed is in many waters. His sovereign is higher than Agag, and his reign is exalted. El, who brought him out of Mitzrayim, is for them like the horns of a wild ox. He devours nations, his enemies, and he breaks their bones, and with his arrows he smites. He bowed down and laid down like a lion, and like a lion, those who would rouse him. like a lion, who would rouse him? Blessed is he who blesses you, and cursed is he who curses you. Then the displeasure of Balak burned against Balaam, and he struck his hands together. Balak then said to Balaam, I summoned you to curse my enemies, and see, you have kept on blessing him these 3 times. And now flee to your place. I said I would greatly esteem you, and see, Yah has kept your back from esteem. So he's like, you're not going to get the glory because Yah has not allowed you to get the glory. And Balaam said to Balak, do I not also speak to your messengers whom you sent me, saying, if Balak should give me his house filled with silver and gold, I am unable to go beyond the word of Yah to do either good or evil. Of my own heart, what Yah speaks, I speak. And now, see, I am going to my people. Come, let me advise you what this people is going to do to your people in the latter days. And he took up his proverb and said, this is the saying of Balaam, son of Beor, and the saying of the man whose eyes are opened, and the saying of him who hears the words of El, and knows the knowledge of the Most High, who sees the vision of the Almighty, who falls down with eyes opened wide. I see him, but not now. I observe him, but not near. A star shall come out of Jacob, and a scepter shall rise out of Israel, and shall smite the corners of Moab, and shall destroy the sons of Seth. 25, 24. Wait a minute, I got lost. I'm sorry. Seth, where'd it go? Oh, it jumped. Wait a second. I'm sorry. Where'd it go? Where were we? We were in 20. There we go. Right. Where did it go? Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Here we go. Darn it. In 24. Here we go. I'm sorry. Here we go. And Edom shall be a possession, and Seir shall be a possession. Enemies, and Yasharel is doing mightily. And out of Jacob one shall rule and destroy the remnant of Er. And then look on Amalek. And he took up his proverb and said, Amalek was first among the nations, but his latter end is to perish forever. And then looked on the Canaanites, and he took up his proverb and said, firm is your dwelling place, and your nest is set in the rock. The Kenites. But Canaan is to be burned till when does Asher keep you captive? And he took up the proverb and said, oh, who does live when El does this? And ships shall come from the coast of Kittim, and they shall afflict Ashur and afflict Eber, and so shall Amalek. And Balaam rose and left and returned to his place, and Balak also went away. And 25, there we go. And Yasharel dwelt in Shittim, and the people began to whore with the daughters of Moab. And so this, what ended up happening is Balaam actually got Israel to curse themselves. And they started doing the way of the Moabites and marrying and intermarrying with them. And they invited the people to the slaughterings of their mighty ones, and that the people ate and bowed down to their mighty ones. Thus Israel was joined to Baal Peor, and the displeasure of Yah burned against Israel. And Yah said to Moshe, take all the leaders of the people and hang them up before Yah, before the sun, so that the burning displeasure of Yah turns away from Israel. And Moshe said to the judges of Israel, each one of you kill his men who were joined to Baal Peor. And see, one of the children of Israel came and brought to his brother a Midianite woman before the eyes of Moshe and before the eyes of the congregation and the children of Israel who were weeping at the door of the tent of appointment. From what I understand, he brought this Moabite prostitute into the tabernacle and had blatant sex with her in there. And when Phinehas, son of Eleazar is the priest, son of Aaron, he's the new high priest, his son, Phinehas, yay, Phinehas, you go, buddy, saw it, he rose up from among the congregation and took a spear in his hand, and he went after the man of Israel into the tent and thrust both of them through, the man of Israel and the woman, through her belly. And thus the plague among the children of Israel came to a stop. And those who died in this plague were 24,000. Crazy. All right. Then next is the Haftarah, is Micah 5, 6 through 6:8. And they shall shepherd the land of Ashur with the sword of the land of Nimrod at its entrances. And he shall deliver us from Ashur when he comes into our land and when he treads within our borders. And the servant of Jacob shall be in the midst of many peoples, as dew from Yah, as showers on the grass, which do not wait for a man nor delay for the sons of man. And the remnant of Jacob shall be among the nations in the midst of many peoples, like the lion among the beasts of the forest, like the young lion among the flocks of sheep, who, if he pass through, shall both tread down and shall tear, and there's no one to deliver. Let your hand be lifted up against your adversaries, and all your enemies be cut off. And it shall be in that day, declares Yah, that I shall cut off your horses out of your midst, and I shall destroy your chariots, and I shall cut off the cities of your land, and shall put down all your strongholds. And I shall cut off witchcraft out of your hand, and let you have no magicians. And I shall cut off your carved images and your pillars from your midst, so that you no longer bow down to the work of your hands. And I shall pluck your Asherim out of your midst, and I shall destroy your cities, and I shall take vengeance in wrath and rage on the nations who do not obey. And hear now what Yah is saying: arise, strive with the mountains, and let the hills hear your voice. Hear, O mountains, the controversy of Yah, and your everlasting foundations of the earth. For Yah has a controversy with his people, and he shall reprove Israel. My people, what have I done to you, and how have I wearied you? Answer me. For I have brought you up out of the land of Mitzrayim, and I have ransomed you from the house of bondage, and I set Moshe, Aaron, and Miriam before you. My people, remember, please, what Balak, sovereign of Moab, counseled, and what Balaam, son of Peor, answered him from Shittim to Gilgal, in order to know the righteousness of Yah. With what shall I come before Yah, bow myself before the high Elohim? Shall I come before him with ascending offerings, with a calf a year old? Is Yah pleased with 1,000 of rams and 10,000 rivers of oil? Shall I give my firstborn for my transgression, the fruit of my body for the sin of my being? He has declared to you, O man, what is good, and what does Yah require of you? One of my favorite, but to do right, to love loving commitment, and to walk humbly with your Elohim. To do right, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your Elohim. And then the Brit Hadashah, Romans. Where did you go? Romans, there you are. Romans 11, 25 through 32. For I do not wish you to be ignorant of this secret, brothers, lest you should be wise in your own estimation, that hardening is part has come over Israel until the completeness of the nations has come in. What? Completeness of the nations come in. I think that means when the nation, I don't want to say because I don't know for sure. And so all Israel shall be saved, as it was written, the deliverer shall come out of Zion, and he shall turn away wickedness from Jacob. And this is my covenant with them when I take away their sins. And that's Isaiah 59, 20 through 21. Truly, as regards the good news, they are enemies for your sake, but concerning the choice, they are beloved for the sakes of the fathers. For the gifts of the calling of Elohim are not repented of. For as you also at one time disobeyed Elohim, but now have obtained compassion through their disobedience. As so, these have now disobeyed, that through the compassion shown you, they might also obtain compassion. For Elohim has shut them all up to disobedience in order to have compassion on all. Well, that is the reading for this week. Let me go ahead and stop sharing. Be blessed. Father Yah, bless everyone who's listened to this recording. Once again, give them ears to hear, eyes to see, and a heart that searches you out to know how to walk with you in covenant. In Yahushua's name, amen. Be blessed, and we'll see you next week.